Sean Cordisco back again. It's been a good couple of months since my last video. Unfortunately, life interferes with your chess. And sometimes when things are going wrong, you got to prioritize a little bit. But anyway, in a couple of weeks, it's going to be the Vikings A Todd of Steel chess tournament. One of my favorite tournaments. Unfortunately, my buddy Carl Nakamura isn't playing this year, but I thought as a warm-up video coming up, I'd pick one of the tiebreak games from the World Championship recently held in New York back at the end of November. This is tiebreak number 3. First two tiebreaks were draws. White is Sergei Karjakin, formerly from Ukraine, now Russia, and of course, someone that he's no introduction in the chess world, Magnus Carlsen, current world champion from Norway. Let's get to it. Remember, now they're playing a rapid format. Well, you're thinking, why are you going over a rapid game? That's not really good chess. Well, it is. It's 25 minutes per side, 25 minutes per side, and 10 seconds increment. So it's fairly quick for rapid, or I should say fairly slow for rapid. Now we'll go through the moves here fairly quickly. Karjakin is white, Carlsen is black. It's going to be a real low pay. We'll just breeze through the opening here. There's really no point in. I don't go through a lot of opening theory in my videos. There's other videos for that. I'm just not that knowledgeable on the openings to even begin to try to teach people. Bishop, typical stuff. D6, A3. Nice escape square, of course, for the bishop. Castles, knight C3. We'll go through here. It's pretty much all standard stuff. Now back here, knight C6 is also the computer's choice, and that's what Magnus did. There's 6 of one, half dozen of another. I kind of like bishop takes A2, even though it's computer's second choice, because it puts that rook in a really awkward spot. But of course, these guys are world champions. It's just a matter of taste, I guess. Knight G5, hitting the bishop. Can the bishop move off? Well, not really. I mean, this is going to be tough here. Got to remember, if this bishop moves off, we'll say it comes back to here. What's going to happen? I mean, look at this position for a minute. Oh, went a little screw with my arrow. It looks pretty tough here for black. A lot of pressure on the F7 pawn. So rather than go fool around with all of that, pawn takes knight. Knight D4. And here comes Magnus, F5. Very aggressive. Very aggressive. Shows a tiny advantage on the computer for white, but I like this already. Backs up the knight. F4. He just keeps going. C3 to kick the knight. Knight comes back. Knight to E4. And that's a really good spot for that knight for a couple of reasons. There are no black pawns that can chase it away, at least for right now. And there isn't a light squared bishop for black. So that knight sits pretty well. Queen E8. Trying to bring the queen over. A bishop. Queen G6. Here comes the queen. F3. This will stop the advance of that pawn. Bishop H4. A lot of pieces now starting to accumulate around white's king. A4. Open it up a little bit. Knight F6. Here comes the knight. And the pieces are starting to flow in here. I mean, I saw a couple of Gary Kasparov videos. If you look, well, a little screwy there, but this half of the board, almost all the white pieces. Look at all the black pieces on the king side. We'll see what happens. Queen E2. Only shows a small advantage for black on the computer, but I like black a lot already. A5. Pawn takes, pawn takes. Bishop D2. Pawn takes. Bishop takes. That's a good spot for that knight. Knight to e3. White decided to bring the F rook over. Rook takes. Rook takes. Queen back to e8. Hits the pawn on b5. So it looks like maybe white weathered the storm, so to speak. Bishop c4. Kind of coaxing black to take. But he doesn't, of course. He goes king to h8. Knight takes. Bishop takes. Rook a3. Now, this is one of those positions that's typical Carlsen. Typical Carlsen. There's not much here. It's 0.00, all three first suggestions on the computer. This is as dry as it gets. And this is where Magnus really, truly shows his strength. He takes these dry positions and he just slowly grinds you out. We'll see what happens. e4, sacrifices a pawn, gets rid of the bishop. Now he's a pawn down. But he did that to open up the space. Rook comes back. Rook comes over. Having the A rook is really commanding, is quite the deal. Pawn trying to get somewhat live for his king. And they slowly but surely, Magnus is getting into the position here. Now, there comes the queen. And now the importance of this A file now shines. Bishop f1 has to guard the G pawn, of course. Rook to a2. Rook to b1 is probably the way to go. But this is where Karjakin stumbles. I don't know what he was thinking. Remember, a lot of pressure on Karjakin. A lot of pressure. He's managed to tie Magnus at the end of their scheduled 12 rounds. They've played 2 tiebreak games, both draws. The pressure's got to get to him. He's never played in a world championship before. All the media attention, all the people. I mean, this is his chance to be world champion. And when you're playing for Russia, that's a huge deal. Because those guys take this very, very seriously, of course. He decides to go rook takes c7. Without even thinking. And now, rook to a1. And Karjakin immediately resigns. What else can he do? Yeah, he can spite check. King goes to h7. Queen takes the rook. I mean, this is the only choice he has. Rook c8, king h7. It's over. Tough break. Buckled under the pressure. But that's typical Carlsen. We'll take a stagnant position and slowly grind you. And then when your nerves fail, you mess up and blunder. Anyway, folks, that's a warm-up video because I haven't had one for a while, so I figured I'd show this game because it was pretty interesting. And look for some videos coming up from my How to Steal. I will go over some good games. Quite a large field. Karjakin and Carlsen are both playing, so they're going to play each other at least once. So that ought to be interesting as well. And as they always say at the end of my videos, if you think chess is just a game, you're not playing it right. Take care, folks. Bye-bye.